Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan
Welcome
Tyler,
home,
Jack
the
O'Rourke, Nick Padone. It is Wednesday, February 26, 2025. And, fellas, the weather is starting to turn around here in Northeast Ohio. However, Nick, you are not in Northeast Ohio. You are in Indianapolis near Lucas Oil for the NFL Combine, brother. I haven't been able to talk to you since I was out the last couple of days. For those wondering, I was sick as a dog, 101 fever. Felt like I was on my deathbed, but I couldn't miss the Big Factor. I said I can never miss the Big Factor 2 days in a row. Well, I did it, so now I have to say I can never miss the Big Factor 3 days in a row. That's my new motto. Nick, Jack, how you guys doing today?
I mean, I'll let Nick go second just because he's more relevant to what's going on today. But Ryan, let me speak for all of us. Happy to have you back. Great to have you back in the studio. The fever is not a joke.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, not a good time. You said you were hitting triple digits, and that's definitely something. But
I was.
yeah, I'm in a good mood. I'm just hoping for a high vibe show today. You know, I told you before the show today that the auto show would be won or lost in the next hour. You know, it's all about how you set the tone for the day. We got a big trip to the Cleveland Auto Show today, the Hanford Dixon Show, recording live at 4 p.m., followed by the return with Josh and Maria Cribbs, at 4, and then at 5 p.m. is the return of Josh and Maria Cribbs. Rye, we're going to be out there. That's going to be a hell of a time.
Yeah, we will be out there. Before we jump into the topics today, you guys know that feeling when you're sick and you have to throw up. Sorry to get a little gross here on a Wednesday. And you're like, I have to throw up, but I absolutely hate throwing up. It's like one of the worst feelings in the entire world is throwing up, in my opinion. But you know if you do it, you'll feel immediately a wave of relief for like the next 30 at least minutes. That was the battle I was constantly fighting was, do I want to go through that hell that is 5 minutes of throwing up for 30 minutes of relief? That was the battle that I was going through.
That's a tough
the last
one,
couple
dude.
days.
Because I don't know. I don't hate throwing up as much as most people, I think.
I think it's one of the worst things in the world.
It is. It's not fun to do. I mean, I don't enjoy throwing up, but at a certain point, you just got to get it out and get better. And that's what you got to do. It sounds like that's what you did. That's why you're here. I think if you held off the throwing up, you wouldn't be here today. We'd get you back tomorrow. So this is huge.
Fair enough. Well, I'm not sick anymore to a point, but the Browns are making a lot of people sick with the moves this last year especially. Nick, you're at the Combine. You got a chance to speak with or talk to Andrew Berry with all the reporters down there in Indianapolis. How was that? How is Lucas Oil this morning? I believe you were there. You got the chance to talk to Abdul Carter. We saw Jack Sawyer, some clips out from Big Play. That was pretty cool. Brother, happy Wednesday. How you doing?
Yeah, glad to have you back, Ryan. You know, these last couple of big factors just didn't seem the same. Yesterday's big factor was crazy because I was on the phone. You know, we were Bluetoothing Pat McGuire's phone to the
I
audio
saw that
board.
phone graphic. That made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, phone graphic needs a little bit of work, but glad to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, tell us about it this morning. We saw you talk to Jack Sawyer. We'll start there. Obviously, now national champion with the Buckeyes. I saw you made a funny joke about the Bobby Carpenter show, said he listened a few times. That was cool. You tweeted out the full interview series we have on the Big Play app with the Ohio State guys. I got to imagine that guy is over the moon, projected first-round pick, possibly after the playoff run. What did he have to say? How was that?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, you know, was a guy that there were a lot of people around. You know, they do these, and I'll take a pic. I'll try to take a picture when I go back here in an hour, so we could have it for tomorrow's show. They literally have these podiums set up like one next to each other. So you know, there's some guys that are here that are going to be drafted, but just smaller names from smaller schools. You know, Jack Sawyer was one though that just had everybody over by his podium. Same with Abdul Carter was the first one really in the first wave of prospects early this morning. And it was cool for Jack Sawyer, you know, because he's one that gets to celebrate that he was one of the last two teams playing in the college football playoff and ultimately won the national championship. A big contingent, obviously, of Buckeye reporters down here asking him all the Ohio State questions. It was very complimentary of Ryan Day. Talked about the scoop and score and that he's rewatched that highlight a couple times, but you know, really was, you know, grateful to be a national champion and explain that that's the reason why him and a lot of the other older players ended up going back to Columbus. So today, big media day for, you know, defensive linemen, defensive ends, linebackers. Kevin Stefanski speaks to the media today at 1:00, so I'll be going back over there here in a little bit. But yeah. And then Andrew Berry yesterday was fascinating. I'm sure you guys have questions about that as well.
Yeah, but before we get to the man AB himself, let's get to the pick that he's going to make early on in the draft. Have you heard any buzz going around in Indy about who the Browns are looking for? Maybe not even that top pick, but like maybe any names in the mid rounds they like?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with Indy, right, in the combine is nobody knows anything for sure yet. Like
Yeah.
they're probably not even 100% sure. They're in their information gathering phase. I think my general vibe and consensus, if you guys honestly want it, just from sniffing around, and how I think it's going to unfold, I right now think the Tennessee Titans are primed to take Abdul Carter with the number 1 overall pick, and I really think for the Browns, it's going to be Shador Sanders, right there with the number 2 overall pick. Andrew Berry spoke yesterday about how decision making is the one skill set that they're really looking for in all their quarterbacks, whether through free agency, through this rookie class, through trades. They need a good decision maker. And if you look at the top of this class, Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, one of them has the reputation for taking care of the football, and one of them has the reputation of being a little bit reckless with the football. And we've seen the Browns have their best quarterback play when it came from guys that weren't constantly throwing picks. So I really do think Shador Sanders is in play with the number 2 overall selection. That's kind of also some of what I'm hearing, just around. And then from there, what the Giants do at 3 is kind of TBD. Are they the team that falls in love with Cam Ward, with Abdul Carter already gone? Could they potentially trade out? I think there's a lot of things that can happen that start at 3, but I think right now 1 and 2, I feel pretty good as of February 26th about Abdul Carter and Shador Sanders.
Well, hey, speaking of Travis Hunter, Andrew Berry and his constituents in Berea, they seem to view him as more of a receiver than a DB. Titans view him as a DB. Went to the combine as a DB, and if the Browns look at him as a wide receiver, I'm sure that means he'll be a one-way Hall of Fame corner and not touch the field on the offensive side of the ball, if that's how the Browns evaluating things here. But I thought that was interesting, Nick. Your thoughts on that? Was that
for
news
sure.
to you?
Ryan, it was honestly one of those, where all the media was, around AB, and everybody's got their microphones like this trying to get the sound. And he said that, and everybody kind of like started looking around at each other like, wow, this is a guy that's here as a DB. But AB's explanation was sound. You play more snaps as a receiver. You have more of a chance to impact the game and make winning plays as a wide receiver. Now, read between the lines on some of this, and it hit me almost instantaneously, like as AB was still talking, like, well, if they view this guy as a wide receiver, are you really going to take a wide receiver with the number 2 overall pick? Despite, Barry was very complimentary, especially because he has the skill set to play both ways. He can contribute, and would potentially contribute defensively for the Browns. But a receiver at 2 right now, after you had the phenomenal season from Jerry Jeudy, probably isn't in the cards. So that was a surprise. I think everybody was surprised, and I'm curious to see how the process evolves. And I feel like now that he has said that, we'll probably hear a little bit less about Travis Hunter in Cleveland.
So Nick, when you said yesterday on the show, you're talking about Odell, how he got traded when we were at the combine, like this time of the year with John Dorsey. The big news was that Harold Landry requested a trade out of Tennessee. How do you think that plays into this first overall pick? I know you mentioned Abdul Carter. Now, he was a name we weren't looking at a ton before for first overall. Is that why?
I think it has to play into it, right? And Abdul Carter went up there today, and he's an individual that when he declared for the draft and posted the Photoshop edit with the big thank you statement to Penn State and that he's coming out and going to the draft, he said he declared for the NFL draft as the number 1 overall pick. Okay.
Wow.
Great confidence. He posted that in his initial statement, and he really doubled down on it today, this morning when he went and met with everyone there, and said that he believes that he's the best player in the nation, and he believes that the best player in the nation deserves to go number 1 overall. So that's his conviction. Obviously now with Landry potentially being traded out of Tennessee, it makes the Abdul Carter watch all that more interesting. As Tennessee, and we've hit on this before on the program, like they are truly a team, and we say it about the Browns too, but like they are more than just a quarterback away.
So that'd be interesting. Let's say Abdul Carter goes 1 to the Tennessee Titans. Like you said, let's say the Cleveland Browns go with Shador Sanders. Does that mean Cam Ward is a Giant?
I don't know, and right, like what I'm saying, like in the last week of February, you can't speak in anything in finality because like, what if there's a world where the Giants want Cam Ward or the Giants want Shador Sanders that bad, they trade up with the Tennessee Titans. The Giants have the number one pick. Shador Sanders goes number one. The Browns at two take Cam Ward, and Tennessee still gets their guy in the defensive end, and Abdul Carter at three, and bonus first round pick for next year. So anything can happen right now. It's still just way too early, I think.
All right, well, let's have the uncomfortable conversation that came out of Andrew Berry's presser at the NFL Combine, and that was talking about Nick Chubb. He says he expects Nick Chubb to hit the free agency market. Now, the Browns are already not in the good graces of the fans, to say the least. You're going to potentially lose. I know they say they don't plan on parting ways with Myles Garrett, but at some point something's going to hit the road, whether he stays and signs the extension or leaves. But now you're looking at as you're probably maybe letting go of the most beloved Brown since I can remember. I mean, don't get me wrong, Myles Garrett is a beloved Brown, and the product he's put on the field has been tremendous, and he's done everything and more for the Cleveland Browns. But Nick Chubb, the heart and soul of that locker room of the city. I mean, you talk about the most beloved athletes in this city. It's Jose Ramirez, it's Nick Chubb, and then there's probably a big gap.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, though, like, I wasn't surprised when Andrew Berry said that. I mean, two back-to-back season-ending injuries for a running back that's going to be 30. They played ball with him and restructured the contract last year. Like, even if Chubb finished the season this year, he was probably going to explore free agency, So it's just an unfortunate reality. I believe what would Andrew Berry have to lie about that? I believe that Chubb is going to be a free agent, and I believe, unfortunately, that he's probably played his last snap as a Brown.
Wow.
This is one of those things too where, guys, I feel a little bit bad, I'm going to say, for Andrew Berry, because there's been a plethora of moves that have just not worked out his way. I think it's very fair to say over the last couple of years. And this is one that it might actually be, if you take the emotions out of it as a football move, it could be the right one. It's a little bit of that Patriot way, Bill Belichick. You squeeze every possible ounce of juice out of a guy you can, and then when it's gone, you don't want to pay him, This might be the right move, and this might be the move that makes the fan base the most upset of anything Andrew Berry's done.
Yeah, and they got to get younger. Like last year, the run game, whether it was Chubb, whether it was Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong, like the run game was not exciting to watch, regardless of who the back was. So I know we all have, and I do too. I love Chubb as a person and a player, but like when when you see the offense be as bad as it was last year, what have we said all off season long? You can't just run that back. You weren't going to be able to run back to Sean with Jerry Jeudy and the same cast of receivers. You're still going to need to draft a receiver. You're still going to need to make some noise there. And then you can't run back the same running back room. Like, you've got to find a younger, faster, stronger running back. And I know we all love Nick Chubb, but unfortunately that's just the reality of where they're at, I think.
That's what I was going to ask you guys next. And Ryan, you're a Cincy guy, so I hate to bring this up, but are you guys comfortable with a world where Jerome Ford would be RB1 next season, or does it have to be someone in the draft, like maybe that Cal kid in the second or third round?
I think, yeah, I would like to pick up a rookie running back, and my reasoning is because on this show, we all want a rookie quarterback. I would love nothing more. I really thought that what John Dorsey did when the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, having Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb in that backfield, like it was a veteran with a young guy, so maybe Ford could be that veteran, that Carlos Hyde with a younger guy, like, Travion Henderson's down here going to speak to the media, Quinshon Judkins. I know that would get the, Buckeye faithful really excited, but that's what they need. They need some youthfulness, I think. And Jerome Ford's good, but I just don't know if he's, an every down bell cow back that the Browns are going to need, because they're going to go back to the Stefanski ball, the play action style stuff. So you need an actual threat back there.
Speaking of getting younger, Joel Bitonio, any word on him? I know he said he'll make his decision and let the Browns know soon if he plans on retiring or playing another year in the NFL. Have you heard anything in that aspect?
No, and Barry was quiet about it. He was asked a couple different ways and didn't really comment on it, which you got to respect. Like, he's going to let Joel make that announcement on his own one way or another. My inkling right now says that he's probably leaning towards retirement. I could be dead wrong on that, but we'll have to see. There wasn't a whole lot with that.
My initial thoughts when I saw that he said that was, I kind of thought that meant he's more leaning towards playing.
Really?
I would think if you were going to retire and you were concrete on that, I think you would just announce the retirement. I'm not sure that you would sprinkle in a little hope. I don't know. That's just me. That was my thought. But I mean, the guy's 36 now, and I believe honestly a big part of that is what his expectations are for the Browns next season. I mean, is it worth throwing your body through that for another 4-win season? The answer to that is certainly no. He's got the money. He doesn't need it. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, LA Luka, he gets his revenge against the Mavericks, drops a triple-double on that. Cavs blow out the Magic, just trending towards another amazing regular season for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll talk about that and more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Jackie Bedford. We're going to be at the auto show later today.
We are.
Speaking of automobiles, we're brought to you today and, of course, every day by our great friends at Fairway Ford, Ohio.
Not Fairway Ford, Ohio. Turn it around. Audible, get out of here. Nope. Don't ruin the show.
We'll get to that later. I forgot to share my screen with Nick, so he didn't even see what we're talking about. But we're brought to you today, of course, like we are every day by Fairway Ford, Ohio. Fairway Ford is the largest Ford truck dealership in Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s as well as Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Do not let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands on your new truck. Fairway Ford is the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. Once again, that's fairwayfordohio.com.
Ryan, I was actually on the Fairway Ford Instagram page earlier this week. You guys got to check out their segment called Mike's Mondays. I mean, this guy's electric. Mike works down at the Fairway Ford Canton location, brings you all the deliverables Monday, kind of fires you up a little bit. And they also have a pretty cool service van. Like, I don't think a lot of dealerships do that for you, like give you a service van, like almost like a mini AAA kind of. So I would heavily suggest checking out those people over at Fairway Ford, Ohio.
His name's Fairway Ford Mike?
Yes. Mike Mondays, baby.
Mike Mondays. I'll have to check that out. All right. Well, L.A. Luka gets his revenge against his former team, the Mavericks, of course. Guys, this was a late game. I fell asleep because I was sick. I woke up for a little bit at midnight. I went to check the score, and it was still going on. Those West Coast tip-offs are brutal, but the Lakers win 107-99. Luka Doncic with a triple-double, 19 points, 15 assists, 11 rebounds. Guys, this comes off the heels of the Lakers beating the Nuggets. A lot of concerns that they aren't big. They lost size, but however, their defensive rating and points allowed in the paint has actually improved since the Luka trade. They are now third in the West, guys. I know this was a move that the Lakers looked for the future, but it seems they're reaping some benefits pretty early on with LeBron James. Him and Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic are playing really well together, and now they're looking to make some noise in the West. I know it's the Oklahoma City Thunder and then some, but guys, do the Lakers pose a real threat here in the West?
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, go for it. My bad.
I think anytime that you have a LeBron James team that, kind of hits their stride at the right time, you have to be aware of that and wary of that, especially when they get in the playoffs. Anything can happen. That's kind of what happened in the bubble, when LeBron was able to win that championship with the Lakers in the bubble. I think they're a threat in the West, to win a couple rounds. I don't know how deep they could go. I don't know, if the ceiling is Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals. finals, they're going to need both LeBron and Luka to be playing at the absolute highest of level. Because obviously Austin Reeves is a nice player, but you just hit on it, Ryan. Outside of that, the depth isn't as built out as some of the top teams like OKC. So I definitely think they're a factor, but I don't know if they're, a Western Conference Finals lock or an NBA Finals lock, despite improving 2 spots since the deadline. And even if you remember before the deadline, like the Lakers were playing good basketball, so they've really just maintained that, even with adding Luka.
Dude, I kind of love where you're coming from with that, Nick, on that veteran experience that the Lakers had, because I think that's what could drive them to go to a Western Conference Finals this year. Because look at those other teams at the top of the Western Conference, like the Thunder, the Grizzlies, even the Rockets, really, who were kind of dominating that 1 through 5 with the Lakers also. All those teams are a bunch of young guys, young cores who are awesome, but they don't really have like an older leader or like a guy who's done it before in the playoffs. And look at the Thunder, even 2 nights ago, they blew like a 25-point lead to the Timberwolves, who are like barely a playoff team right now. Like they're very... There's some human teams out there in the West, as good as the West has been this year, and I do think that some of that comes into play when you got a guy like LeBron who's been there, done that, not just for a decade, but even longer. And even Luka's got some good playoff experience now. He's gone to a finals.
Yeah, when I look at these standings, I mean, similar to the East, it's all Boston and Cleveland and then some. It's OKC and then some, as I said. But then outside of that, I mean, it's just really Memphis is the 2 seed now. Denver's the 3, followed by the Lakers. But if I was to look at the playoffs, like if I'm taking the Lakers in a series against the Rockets, the Clippers, the Timberwolves.
Clippers are falling a little bit, man.
And we'll see what happens with the Golden State as they continue to, and what's the word I'm looking for? And still Jimmy Butler in that offense. Like, I'm taking LeBron James and the Lakers. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think there's a good chance. I mean, to sit here today, I understand how good Denver is, but I could see the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals with Luka. And then, I mean, even at that point, when you get to OKC, I understand they're more talented, but similar to the Cavs when they're going to be playing Boston, I mean, they're a younger team without the playoff experience. I mean, you compare what LeBron James has done. Nobody on that roster added up, cumulative, has done what LeBron James has done in the postseason. So I think that'll be interesting. Do you guys think that's crazy to say Lakers in the Western Conference Finals?
I mean, Luka was in the Western Conference Finals last year, and it wasn't like that those Mavericks were completely stacked. It was just Luka was being heroic. Anthony Edwards was the story of the playoffs all last spring until he ran into Luka and the Mavs. And so like I definitely think that the Mavs have a chance just because the Luka magic effect is real. I think that he is really that dude that impacts the game, and I know people are like, well, the scoring hasn't been there, like he had 19 last night, but the other ways that he impacts the game is kind of that similar point forward role, like what we became accustomed to in Cleveland when LeBron took the Cavs to 4 straight finals, where this is a guy that could distribute, this is a guy that could rebound, and he's in his prime right now. Like everybody tried to call him fat a couple weeks ago, but like I think he proved last night against this old team, like that's not an issue.
All right, well, we flip it over to the East. The Cavs blow out the Orlando Magic 122-82. And guys, it's crazy to say your leading scorer was Ty Jerome with 20 points, and you won by 40 points. I mean, that just goes to show how deep these Cavs are. Donovan Mitchell only 11 points, Mobley 17, that's fair, but Strus 6 for 9 from beyond the arc. I mentioned Ty Jerome with 20 points and DeAndre Hunter 17 points. And DeAndre Hunter has made a seamless transition from Atlanta to Cleveland. The athleticism, the length, being able to guard 1 through 4, and even sometimes when you need him, he can body up a center if you need him to. The addition that he's made to this Cavs, you've already seen the impact, and you were already thinking pre-trade deadline that this Cavs team was destined for the Eastern Conference Finals. Now it's hard to not have real hope here, 48-10, that you have a chance to beat the Boston Celtics. Now, that's still going to take a lot of effort when they're full strength. They probably have the better starting 5. I don't think that's far-fetched to say, as good as the Cavs have been, but similar to what the Celtics were able to do last year because of how deep their bench was. I mean, the Cavs are following that formula to a T, and they get a chance at them, tomorrow night? Or Friday night, I believe?
Friday night.
And Ryan, there's the tagline the Cavs have used really since the JB Bickerstaff era is #LetHemKnow. But I don't even know if that fits this team anymore, Ryan. It might be the old Warriors back in the day with the strength in numbers. I think that's what this Cavs team is. Because you look at it last night, like you mentioned. So Garland's out from the first place, so you're taking out one of your all-stars. If you look at the first 4 players to get in the double digits last night for the Cavs, none of them were even Donovan Mitchell. So your best player, and arguably you're probably your third best player, out, and you still have guys doing it every single night. It is so crazy to see these bench guys develop too. Like Ty Jerome, a guy who Phoenix, Golden State, like always had a role, but like never came out and just did this. And he just takes the craziest shots off the bench, and they just find a way in. Man, it's crazy. Like he does that like leg kick thing, and it goes in. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, Ty Jerome.
If Kenny Atkinson doesn't win Coach of the Year, we've completely lost the plot.
So that's
I disagree with that, though, dude. I think JB should win in Detroit.
I don't think so. I understand the argument, and it goes along the same lines of kind of how the NFL likes to give out that award. You go to a team with low expectations, and you completely blow them out of the water, and that's what he did here in Cleveland, right? He started this rebuild post
but they're
LeBron
going to be a
James.
first round out.
And I think, but the year Kenny Atkinson has had, I mean, it's been historic. Let's say they only lose 5 more games. I mean, you're looking at the best regular season in franchise history. Especially, like I think it's still.
How many wins
is
is it for the franchise record?
I think they need
66.
Yeah, so I think
66. Wow.
So they need 67 to break it. Yeah. All right, we got to take another break. When we get back, we're looking at the MLB. I believe it's the Athletic drops their all under 25 team. Did any Guardians make that list? We'll talk about that and an SEC scandal to end the show. It's not what you think, but I promise you, it's full of drama. We'll be right back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone. We're breaking down the Athletics MLB all under 25 team headed into the 2025-26 season. Nick, I'm sorry, you are not eligible for this list as you over 25. Jack, we are eligible for this list.
We got snubbed.
I don't think we got a single vote. I'll be honest with you, Jack. I have to check the listings. You might have gotten one for bench warmer, all pro, under 25 team, but I'm going to let you take over this segment a little bit, Jack, because I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm going to be honest. I don't know who half these players are. Jack, you're an expert MLB expert, or our resident MLB expert, I should say. Jack, let's break down this bad boy, shall we?
I mean, I could be the expert. That sounds pretty badass. But yeah, let's look at the infielders here to start off. The catcher, they picked Francisco Alvarez from the Mets. First base, this one hurts a lot if you're a Cleveland fan. Junior Caminero gets the nod from the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, this guy was at one time, before he was a top 5 prospect in baseball, he was just a 17-year-old middling around in the Cleveland Guardians system before we decided to trade him for Tobias Myers, who never pitched an inning with the major league team. So that one didn't go incredible. Jackson Holliday at second base. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that, because I don't know if he's done anything to earn second base yet. And then obviously with him in the infield, they got Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, and Ellie De La Cruz. So 3 studs there.
Yeah, that's a little hard to beat. Jackson Holliday, yeah, I mean, when he came up, he had that record strikeout streak.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, he was at the time. I mean, how young? Like,
I think he's 19, 20
yeah,
maybe.
So he could be on the
Yeah,
MLB under 21 list. So it's fair, but I understand your hesitance to put him on this list.
Yeah, he's the one who, because I mean, really, if you want to, and I know they should do this more like how the NBA does, like their all NBA teams, because it's now positionless, correct? It used to be like base by position, but they changed it. That's how this should be. Just go infield. That way you get Bobby, Gunnar, and Ellie. It makes a lot more sense. Outfield, you got Jackson Trio, Corbin Carroll, who's a stud for the Diamondbacks, at a bit of not a down year. He still stole 30 bases and hit 270, but down year for him. Jackson Merrill had a great debut year last year at the Padres. Rounding out the outfield was Riley Green from the Tigers, who I'm personally a big fan of. Any objections out of you guys there? Anyone you're a fan of on that list?
I'm not hip to like Corbin Carroll. I know because he had an outstanding rookie season. Jackson Merrill, is that the Brewers?
No, he's Padres.
Padres.
Jackson Trio.
incredible.
Oh, is that
year
who I'm thinking of? Jackson
Yeah,
Chorio?
Churio is the Brewers prospect. Yeah,
Okay.
or center fielder.
Interesting.
He
No.
got a crazy deal, dude. He got like 10 years, 80 million before he even played a game or something like that, which is ridiculous. But
That's the
kinda
way to do it.
That is the way to do it. Like
Was Will Brennan snubbed? Is he under 25?
No.
I don't think
He.
it's
I wonder if he'll make the IL All-Star team this year.
Tyler
for the
Friedman
International League.
snubbed?
Yeah. Starting pitchers, 2 buckos to start off this list. That's how you know we're going strong here. Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. Jared Jones, who I have always said, if there was ever a world, would love to trade for that guy if you're looking to go younger with your starting pitchers. I would even consider moving off of like a decent bet to go get that arm. Rounding out the pitchers, you got Taj Bradley from the Rays, Kyle Harrison, the lefty from the Giants, and Spencer Schwellenbach, who just debuted last year for the Braves. I don't have a ton of arguments there. Bullpen doesn't really matter. No one cares about the bullpen in baseball. Ben Joyce throws the ball really hard. Cade Smith is 26 years old. That was going to be my big gripe, but he's 26. He can't be on this list, so he's not in the bullpen. Wanted to ask you guys, though, what guard do you think will crack this list next? Because we don't have one.
Bazana.
Did you see the homer yesterday?
I mean, that thing went, dude.
You had to have had chills, right?
We need to launch a whole merch line with that, dude. Like this, this is me with my rose-colored Guardians glasses on right now, and because I just saw that home run yesterday. But this dude could become like one of the faces of the sport. Like, just to have an Australian kid with a nice smile like he has, that has like the swagger and the confidence, comes from, a great college pipeline, same as Jackson Holiday, right, at Oregon State, and Quan, and all these, like, dude, I think that he's probably headed for greatness way sooner than any of us realize.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I was talking to Bruce about it. He doesn't expect him to play this year. I mean, if Rocchio locks up short, you have Juan Burrito, Angel Martinez at second. Do you expect to see Bazana up this year?
I think I'll let Jack kind of give like the educated answer, but my uneducated answer is it probably like depends. Like if you're in the midst of like an AL Central race, all the way down, with 30 games left, when you would usually see a young guy get called up just for kind of the, I think if the guards are competing for something meaningful, then we probably won't see them. But like in the world where like this team just wasn't what anybody expected and they're just really bad, then yeah, I think we could see them. That's just completely uneducated guess.
I mean, yeah, if we bottom out in April and May, don't get me wrong, he'll be sitting here on the Big Factor sometime by early July. He'll be up in Cleveland. But Nick, you did without even trying hit the nail on the head with this answer. It all does come down to what you're getting out of the middle of the infield, because you have so many question marks and so many young question marks, which is an issue too, because like Juan Brito, let's say he gets to start at second base, for example. He's still a young kid. I think Juan Brito's like 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah.
Let's say we give him the shot through middle of June, right? Hits 220, doesn't really do great. You're not ready to give up on Juan Brito, but now you're also looking at this kid you took first overall to come up and play. So it really does come out of that Rocchio, Angie Martinez, Gabby, Schneemann, Brito group. Out of those 5, who can do anything to stake their claim to play shortstop some days of the week, second base, or right field? Because even then, you're really bringing in there's a possible world where you call up Boz. You're ready to. Brito's not playing bad, so you move him out to right field. And then I don't know what you do with the CDL. You got the Lauder. What's that kid going to do? So, I mean, you got a bunch of weird things that could happen with this whole Bazana situation.
Yeah, we'll see if the Guardians call up Boz this year, Jack. I love you and the nicknames. Like
that's
you,
what
you
everyone
grew,
calls
you
him
grew
on
up
Twitter.
with
Just
the kid.
look it up.
They call him Boz.
B-A-Z-Z. Look it up.
Boz.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know he was already on a basis like that to call him Boz. I thought he'd have to make his major league debut first.
Oh, no.
But I suppose not. All right, we got to take one more break. When we get back, guys, we got to talk about an SEC scandal. I'm not talking football. I'm not talking baseball. I'm talking SEC sorority girls, SEC fathers. SEC. This one gets ugly, and quite frankly, this one gets gross and disgusting. We're going to break it down when we come back and wrap up the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone. Guys, they say all is fair in love and war, but I'm not sure this fits that mold. This might be the exception. If you haven't been on Twitter, then you probably haven't seen this story, but guys, Twitter is having a field day with it. Now, there's this girl, she goes to Ole Miss. Her name is Mary Kate, and I don't know her last name. It's out there, but I don't need to say it. If you want to find it, you can go look. But the story goes, she goes to Ole Miss, as I said, an SEC school. I'll throw up the picture of her here. Like I said, name's Mary Kate. Good-looking girl. Very good-looking girl. Blonde. Very attractive.
Yeah.
Very attractive. Jack, yeah, before we jump to the story, what are your thoughts on...
My thoughts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She was about to fall out of those out of that seat. I can't even see. I can't even see the picture.
But no,
I can't even see the picture. But I knew.
So you can't. I can give you the play-by-play. Yeah. So if you go back, we're gonna go yay high, probably about 5'4". Pretty like crystal blue eyes, possibly slightly dyed, dirty blonde hair, red dress with a little sash wrap around the neck. Great look for the young lady.
Letting the girls hang out a little bit. But guys, the story is this girl, Mary Kate, okay, goes to Ole Miss, like I said. She's dating this guy. I forget his name. Basically, she cheats on this guy, okay, the SEC sorority girl. Why is this news? We've seen this happen. It probably happens every day. Well, the reason why this is
breaking,
news,
Joel Embiid is hurt, you know?
Not only did she cheat on her boyfriend's guys, but she cheated on her boyfriend with this man right here. I believe his name is Rick, okay?
Sup, Rick?
Clearly, you can tell he's an older guy. Now, why is this crazy? Well, it turns out this is the father of her boyfriend who she slept with. The guy is still with her after all of this, according to Twitter. And the story is that they were at some game of the boyfriend's like brother or sister. They went to the game together to watch. I'm not sure where the boyfriend was, but they went out to dinner to get drinks. And basically they hooked up. And before they did, the girl was hesitant, that Mary Kay girl, but he assured his wife, or he assured Mary Kate that it was okay because he cheats on his wife all the time. So it was allowed. It was fine. The wife knows he cheats on her all the time. I'm assuming this is the first time he's cheated on her with a girl that young and a girl that also happens to be his son's girlfriend. And in fact, it goes further. He said that he wants to sleep with her where his son sleeps with her. So apparently they had sex on her boyfriend's bed.
No, that ain't it.
No, I don't know where I would go from here. And I feel bad for the young gentleman that has to go through this and has this all laid out on Twitter. Talk about a despicable human being, both of them, a horrendous father, a girl for the streets that would have the audacity to sleep with your boyfriend's father. I would imagine at the very least you cut ties with both of them, but I guess he's still with her, according to Twitter. I would never talk to my father again.
Yeah.
I would change my last name, matter of fact. I would not want to be associated with that man. But the fact that he is allegedly still with this girl after sleeping with her father, your guys' thoughts? I mean, can we make any sense of this?
You know what you do here in this scenario?
There's one thing you do.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
You throw on Marvin's Room. You throw on Kanye. In the night, I hear him talk.
The coldest story ever told. Somewhere far along this road, you lost a soul.
Dude,
go cheat on the mom. You go bang her mom. That's what you do.
That's where I thought you were going to go.
Very simple.
I got to
2
find out.
2 = 4. It's Hammurabi's code, an eye for an eye.
So I don't know if she is her. That's the thing. Yeah. The easy answer would be, will you go sleep with her mom? Now, I don't know if she's hot or if she's...
Doesn't matter. It's just principle at this point. You go...
So even if
you put
she's
a kid in the mom.
She's a fat, gross 3 out of 10 mom, you're still laying wood because
you're putting
the
a
principle?
Child inside of that woman. Yes. Yes. That is the only possible way you can do anything in the situation to leave it with some dignity. I mean, if you look at this, like... Your dad of all, I mean, like when you're like a boy, like your dad is one of your closest bonds in the world, you know? And... That's fucked up enough. We don't even need to go that deep into it. Everyone understands that level of the story. The girlfriend's got her own bunch of issues. I mean, I don't even know what's going to be like when she goes back to class. If she ever goes, she's probably going to go to online school. Oh, you would think.
Yeah.
In the bed too, dude. The bed.
You have to transfer, and that's another level of freak. The fact that you not only had sex with your girlfriend's, or with your son's girlfriend, you had to convince her by saying it's okay. You cheat on your wife all the time, and then on top of that, you're freaky enough to where you say, yeah, I want to have sex with you on my son's bed where he has sex with you.
Where was the son? Also,
Oh, I don't know. That's the great question. I'm not sure where he was.
I know they brought Tilted Towers back, buddy, but you got to attention your girlfriend, man. You can't be on the PS5 all day.
Yeah, OG Fortnite's not that important. But the thing is, too, I mean, looking at these pictures, he's not a good-looking guy. Like, he's an older guy. I mean, he's nothing crazy, but, like, you would think he was some, like, John Stamos level DILF.
No, he's not.
But he's far from it.
He looks like Addison Rae's dad. That's about it. Yeah. I mean, like, there's no... I can't believe... Just looking at them next to each other, it just doesn't make sense. Like, my mind just can't equate that, you know?
Nick, can you make any sense of this for the kid to stick with this girl?
No, you gotta move on. And dude, I just pulled myself together from Jack saying that. Oh my God, that was so funny. No, you gotta move on. Especially like the fact that it's also public too is the weird thing. Like, you know, you could try to be like the white knight or whatever and say, you know, I'm gonna stick with her, like this is my woman, whatever. And I'm sure she's remorseful, you know, but that's her, that she, no pun intended, she made that bed, like she's gotta go lay in it, you know, like I'm sure she's remorseful and guilty and feels bad, but yeah, she's gotta go and the dad's gotta go and probably the mom, like why are you letting them cheat on you? Like,
Oh, I mean, the mom's got to find... If there's a brother over 18 years old, I mean, that's also another element that is in play. But this is seriously like... This is the kind of thing that you watch like murder documentaries over, you know? Like I'm just very happy that this hasn't escalated to anything further than what it is.
This is so SEC also. Like this is so like
this doesn't happen in the Big 12 or the Big 10.
This isn't happening at Northwestern or
No.
Purdue.
Some people are saying they
That is
have
West
to wonder
Virginia.
how immaculate her box is, I suppose, for him to stick with her. I don't know. It's crazy, guys. You'd have to transfer, right? Like, you're going to class. Everybody, not even at Ole Miss, but especially now
talking
at Ole
the
Miss,
guy or the
knows who
girl?
you are. The
Dude,
both.
both, yeah,
I'm
both,
going
yeah.
to I'm going to Bowling Green.
Dude, that is not... I mean, you're going to Cambridge if you can get in. You are not
Yeah.
staying in this continent.
Yeah,
if
you
the
have
choice.
to go overseas at this point. I mean, that is just a stain on your record. I mean, you let your dad one up you. The last thing... Oh God, I can't even fathom that. That
Imagine
is
the water
absolutely so
cooler
gross.
too for that guy. You know?
Yeah, well,
Give him
he
the most
took-
hated
yeah,
man in the office.
He did take down his LinkedIn profile picture because people found that, as the internet sleuths do. This is the craziest thing to come out of the SEC in quite a while, guys.
Yeah, and the other element we haven't even touched on yet is that Carlos Correa follows this girl on Instagram. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a
another
wild
one.
twist.
Yeah,
That's an
that was a
interesting
wild one too.
That's an interesting twist. Well, I feel so bad for the kid. I think his name is Colin. I mean, you can find out his last name. I'm not going to go into it. If you go on Twitter, the story's everywhere. I was shocked when I read the details. Absolutely crazy. That's going to do it today here on The Big Factor. Shout out to Fairway Ford. Shout out to Garage Beer. We'll be back tomorrow, same people, same time. We'll be live at the Auto Show at the IX Center with Hanford and Gab for the Hanford Dixon Show, Josh and Maria for the return. And we'll be back tomorrow on The Big Factor, same people, same time. Nick, have fun at the Combine today. Get those videos, get those questions out, and we'll look forward to all of that. Until then, everybody, peace out. Have a wonderful rest of your hump day.